So first of all, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today. My name is Paul Gopal. I am Chief Business Officer at CollectCoin. I imagine we probably have a lot of new faces. I'm joined by Nick.
My name is Nick, and I am focused in the product design and everything related to the marketing and branding, and really just support throughout the whole company.
Yeah. Since we have launched this last Monday, about a week ago, I think that things have been going very well. The community has grown dramatically. Our social media following has grown, really, it's multiplied, in a really significant way. And we're really, really happy to see that. Happy to see that there are a lot of new faces, a lot of new names in the Telegram, significant engagement in terms of our Twitter posts. And unfortunately with that comes, a lot of fake groups, a lot of fake, scammers that are posing as individuals working for us or working with us at different times. We're going to make sure to expose those folks and ask the community as much as possible to report those groups and report those profiles to protect other people in the community that maybe aren't so savvy to recognize that those individuals are scammers. Just, a standard warning, if you're trying to get collected, and Nick, I think your volume may be a little high. I'm hearing an echo. If you're trying to get your, any of your CollectCoin from your time locked wallet, it's going to be on collectco.in. It's not going to be on any other site. So if anyone tells you, oh, connect here to get your tokens, or if there's some kind of a giveaway or anything like that, it would come from the official update page on Telegram, our Twitter, or you can always ask in the main group and one of our moderators will answer. Our group is never one where it silences everyone and then you're not able to talk. So, pay attention to that as well. Some of these other groups are getting scraped 10,000 members or more, and they may seem legitimate, but they're not. So just a word of caution, because as our profile increases, so will the desire for those scammers to want to take advantage of our community. With that said, some good things. Because we've been previously launched, we're already on CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap. We've been doing everything we can to update those profiles. Much of it had to do with, in order to update, they wanted to see material trading. And as you can see, we've had millions of dollars in volume already. And our CoinGecko profile, I believe, is all the way updated. CoinMarketCap, just as of this morning, the contract has been updated, but it's not tracking yet. I was told at 11 p.m. last night, 11:30, that within 24 hours, it should be showing. I've submitted all of the updates, and I have a person that I spoke to that I've been dealing with directly there. So I imagine this is something that should be completed very shortly. So again, you guys have been asking for it, and I'm really excited to have us listed on these platforms, make it easy for individuals to track us. But in the meantime, you can always find us on Dex Tools or PooCoin to see what the chart looks like and, see what the buys and sells are. And now, that will obviously lead us now to the marketing. We're going to have, a bunch of different marketing efforts. And that's one of the reasons why we wanted to make sure that the CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap were ready to go. Because if you think about the typical behavior of someone, they hear about a new project, they're probably going to go on CoinGecko, maybe go on CoinMarketCap, and they're going to want to do a little research about what this is. And then maybe they go on something like a Dex Tools or a PooCoin to kind of see how it's been traded. But we want to make sure that we have the necessary listings so that new folks that are coming on to view or explore, investigate what this project is, are able to do so adequately. And I imagine within about 24 hours, everything will be good to go. So we're very, very excited about that. And that leads us into kind of some of our strategy. We have done a lot of influencer marketing, to raise funds, some to great success, More recently, to not as much success, mainly because it has been kind of a gold rush for influencers where they see that they can get paid thousands of dollars, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars to make a video shilling a coin, sometimes with enthusiasm, sometimes without. And, you know, sometimes with a real impact and sometimes, again, without. So oftentimes you hear us asking for, who are the folks that you guys like? Who are the folks that you follow, that you trust their opinion? Because there's a lot of, you know, kind of fake profiles out there, unfortunately. And those are the profiles that we're trying to make sure we avoid. We do have a coordinated campaign that is kind of centered around original content. You know, we've filmed content centered around us telling the story about, you know, what we're building here. You know, who is Paul? Who is Nick? You know, who is Reiner? What are we trying to build? And also melding it with the idea that crypto adoption is going to be a big part of this. Because as much as we're building this product for individuals that are already in crypto, we want to build something to advance adoption. So, you know, with that said, we actually have a video where we, you know, our marketing lead, she did an interview with me, and then we went out to Washington Square Park to kind of ask folks about what they thought of NFTs, because all too often individuals are just buying NFTs of profile pictures, and, you know, they don't really understand the technology behind it. They think an NFT is almost like a PNG, like a file type or something like that. So we are filming some content, or we have filmed some content. We have some more content as well that we seek to show to advance these ideas. Just the kind of content that we're seeking to make. You know, we're trying to do the best that we can to explain, you know, the vision of what we're trying to build here, and also make a connection to, you know, average people, the normies that aren't in crypto yet, that may not even have a wallet, and explain to them that NFTs are so much more than a profile picture. It's so much more than this speculative thing that you buy hoping that you can double up or quadruple up and just, you know, keep filling your bags. It can be used, you know, in an industrial application, in a commercial application, to kind of advance existing business models. So in terms of future content, we're going to be releasing some content related around the actual items, the sellers of the marketplace. You know, explain and educate, why is it that maybe, you know, instead of buying another altcoin that you see, maybe in terms of your long-term segment of your portfolio, maybe you're looking to see a significant amount of growth, but maybe there are some things that you're doing where you're taking stable coins and you're farming them in something like Anchor, and you're getting your 20%. And you're saying, okay, this is good, this is good. Well, I'll tell you what, there are some items that you can buy, real world items that will actually appreciate in a similar vein, 20%, you know, sometimes more, sometimes 50%, sometimes they double in a year. And we're seeking to curate those items for you to be able to buy, and then in the listings themselves, educate you guys about what these items are, why are they so, you know, sought after, you know, the scarcity, the heritage, you know, the history of the provenance, who's owned this, you know, how many of them are there out there? Sometimes we'll be able to show you guys population sizes, specifically when it comes to trading cards. Now, we're going to be dealing with a wide assortment of items. Again, much of what I'm talking about now, I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard this, but I do see a lot of new names in the chat. You know, we're going to be dealing with trading cards, handbags, watches. We're going to be having select sneakers, sports memorabilia, entertainment memorabilia, and select, you know, blue chip art. You know, the curation component of this is probably among the most important, because this is not eBay. You know, not anyone can come on and list anything. We seek the best sellers that we can find, educate them about the value proposition of working with Monaco Market, and then have them send the items to us. We mint the NFTs, put the NFT into the wallet of that seller, and then the seller can then list it for whatever reasonable price that we see. Now, we're seeking to have several sellers in each category because competition, spurs on real prices. If it's just one person, they can sell it for anything, and then what? Does anything ever sell? So with that said, we're going to be releasing some content around who the sellers are, our authentication partners, and that's another thing. So once an item is vaulted, the next step is going to be a third-party authentication. Even though we're dealing with sellers that already have millions of dollars in revenue, outstanding reputations, we want to make sure there's an added level of security. The most often question folks would ask me when I was in this space is it authentic? Because all too often people are getting scammed. And, we're trying to create a platform to avoid those types of pitfalls. And third-party authentication is going to be a significant component, which will include a certificate of authenticity, original documentation such as an original receipt, original tags as necessary, or if they're trading cards, they must be graded. PSA, Beckett, you have to be able to search that serial number on their website to be able to validate that this was in fact authenticated by those individuals. So to give you guys an idea of where we're at right now, we have done a significant amount of development in terms of the marketplace. I would say the consumer side, the ability for an individual to come on the site and buy, to resell, to pay their fees, and to stake, it's all done. We've already completed that. It's really much of the back end that we're working on at this point, where whitelisted authenticators can sign on, and when an item is in the authentication stage, they go and they authenticate, they attach necessary documentation, and then they pass it off to the individual that's going to be minting. So there is a lot of highly segmented components, whether it's the individuals validating it when it's initially vaulted, authenticators, the individuals minting it, and even, the first step is really the approval process. When someone comes on, actually, you know what? Here, I'll show you guys a little bit of what we're working on. Some of this may look new to some folks. I'm going to be filming a walkthrough of the entire application as it exists right now. And what you see here today, there's actually going to be some changes as well. So this is not by any means the final product. This is going to be Monaco Market. So Monaco Market, as you can see, I'm already logged in, but let's do a little disconnect. So when you first sign on, it'll look like this. This copy is going to change, but this gives you an idea of kind of the look and the feel of what the marketplace is going to look like. There's going to be, different categories for individuals to segment. There are obviously the different types of items. Now, you connect your wallet. Now, typically a prompt would come and then you'll have to sign it to your MetaMask, but I have already done that. I might even have some queued transactions from some things I was listing, but that's okay. So I will deal with that later. So now, one of the things that we try to highlight, obviously this is the Monaco Market, is the individuals to know what CollectCoin is. We're going to have a link to Pancakeswap where they can buy or they can stake their CollectCoin. And we're going to have some more information. Obviously, we're sussing out a lot of what the direct content is going to be, maybe some ancillary pages and things of that nature. Next would be talking about really the value props of what is so great about Monaco Market. The fact that we do vault the items for your safety, for your security, so that you know that when you buy something, that NFT that you're buying actually represents what the item is. And furthermore, if you decide to redeem your NFT, you are going to be able to do that. Now, we're well aware that there are other competitors that exist in the space right now that are selling NFTs that are backed by physical items, but many of them have no redemption process. On day one, you will be able to redeem items on the Monaco Market. There is going to be a kind of a flow where if it is your NFT, you're going to be able to, give us a shipping address, You're going to be able to, you've got to reveal some information about yourself. We're trying to keep it as as true to crypto as possible, but you got to tell us something, an email address at the very least, just so that we can tell you what the tracking number is. You got to know where your item is, and you've got to reveal your name and where this item is going to, because we've got to ship it. So while we're trying to keep it as, true to crypto as possible, there are going to be some elements that we're going to have to, ask you for. Additionally, one of the things that we highlight is the fact that the curation of these items. I love this image because it shows this aspirational aspect that, this Hermes Birkin, it's something that is investment quality. These items are extremely rare. I believe the number is 17% that Hermes will appreciate year over year if you buy the right items. Not every Hermes bag is created equally, but that's where we come in to curate the items, and we do really a vigorous job of making sure that we have the right items for everyone. And then finally, obviously, really highlighting the authentication, the fact that we are dealing with items that have been authenticated by third parties that are industry leaders. And that when you're buying an item from the Monaco market, it is going to be something that is exactly what you paid for. Whether you decide to keep it for a day, a week, or redeem it the second that you buy it, when you own that NFT, it is exactly what you paid for. One other big difference between us and a competitor, like let's say StockX, that has NFTs backed by items, everything here is on chain. Everything here is done with cryptocurrency. StockX, you buy with your credit card, and then you redeem with their database. They claim that they're using NFTs, but nothing is on chain. So are they really? I don't know. I'm personally not a big fan of the way they're going about it. It's kind of very Web 2, and they're sort of bastardizing Web 3, but that's their decision. Now, after you buy an NFT, like let's just say you wanted this glove, taking a little moment to load. If you wanted to buy this, you would select what currency you wanted to buy. Now, because in the blockchain today, and I do have some pending transactions, I'm not going to do a live buy, only because I suspect it's going to take a moment. I was doing this a little bit earlier today, but what I can show you is where it would go. It would go into your My NFT. Now, some of this loading is because I might have a lot of things running right now, but these are a lot of the test items that we've done. They're at different stages where you just created a drop. And by the way, a seller that has been whitelisted to sell, they would have that create NFT button. And then they would, obviously input a bunch of components of it to create the listing, and then we would then approve them. It is not until an item is approved that we would that they would be able to send us their item even. Now, additionally, one of the things that, for everyone else that you want to be aware of is, when something is sold, you've got to pay a fee. Like in this example, this item was sold for 10,000 BUSD. Well, it yielded a fee of 4,900 CLCT. You're going to have to pay your fee. All of the fees are paid with CollectCoin. So once this fee is paid, then anyone that is staking would receive a portion of that. You're going to be able to stake, see how much you've earned, what your pool share is, what the total pool is, and deposit and withdraw as you wish. Whether that's your original investment or you want to just withdraw your entire stake, you're entitled to do that. All of this is already built. It's all functional. We just have to audit these contracts to make sure that everything is kind of functioning the way that we want it to. With that said, I'll go back to the homepage for a second. That gives you guys kind of a soft walkthrough of much of the functionality. And again, we anticipate building this out, having it ready fairly soon. We're going to be releasing updates to kind of give you guys an idea of exactly where we are in the process. But we're actively working on it every day. I guess I would say I've been talking for a long time. Nick, is there anything?
That was a great walkthrough. as you see, there's a lot of progress. I think some of the community that has been following the project has, some of this isn't entirely new, but generally speaking, we've made significant progress of the development. So that, people are asking, what are you guys doing? When's the relaunch of the DEX? That's a lot of what we've been doing, is we've been heads down and really looking at the whole process of the buying experience, of the selling experience on the dealer side, the redemption side. We actually haven't even walked through those walkthroughs just yet. So what does that look like when you're trying to redeem something and get it shipped to you? So there's a lot going on with this application. We're pretty excited once we get closer to launching it. So, Paul, I think you are muted.
Sorry about that. One of the other things that I think separates us from our competitors is that we are taking on this task of well-diversified items. There are other folks that are just doing, trading cards. There's another company, I think they're just doing watches. But I think it's very important that we have something for the individual that has $200 maybe, as well as $20,000. And just because you have a lot more money doesn't mean that the item itself has a greater investment quality. For us, the curation is going to be very important, working with the sellers, to make sure that when you buy something, there's a reasonable expectation over a reasonable amount of time that these things are going to go up in value. Now, we've seen in the watch market in just the last, let's say 3 months, some items have shot up dramatically. But in traditional markets, when things go up that quickly, they often get pulled back. So, one thing I want to impress upon people is the time horizon that we're looking at, it's in months, not in days, so this is really for individuals that have a lot of patience, that want to diversify their portfolio into items that aren't just stable coins. Because as we've seen, even stable coins sometimes are not so stable.
I would add. I think one of the other things that Paul is trying to get to is, if you look at the type of items we're going to be selling, we really want all the investors and our whole community to be a part of it. Like he said, we're going to have items that might be only a couple $100, and then there are going to be items that might be $50 or $100 or $200,000. But the point is, we want everybody to have an opportunity to participate. And some of these other competitive marketplaces that Paul mentioned, while their business model is good, it only caters towards a certain type of investor. Not everybody has $100,000, right? So I think that's our big thing, is being able to actually onboard and have accessibility for everybody to be a part of this.
Absolutely. And, a huge factor of this is I go back to the curation, because look, we've had hundreds of sellers message us to say that they want to sell on the Monaco market. And, so far we haven't exactly accepted any of those folks just yet. Mainly because, initially we want to target individuals that already have, huge inventories of items, that are able to kind of offer us, when that watch sells, another one, when that card sells, another one. Don't get me wrong, there are some items that are one of a kind. Some of the sports memorabilia that we are targeting are literally one of a kind art pieces where you're not going to find this again. So there are some really special items. And as we get closer to the launch of the marketplace, we're going to do some marketing specifically geared around those collections and the ancillary collections that are going to continue. Now, when we launch, we're not going to have 10,000 items. That's not really the game plan. It will be smaller, but every week, hopefully at some point every day, there are going to be new offerings. It's just slowly building this up, understanding where are our users spending money, what are they the most interested in, and kind of really honing in on that. So some of the curation is going to be coming from feedback from the community. And that's why I encourage everyone, if there's something that you like, that you'd like for us to, include, or if there's a seller that you think is interesting for us to deal with. As of right now, we prefer for individuals to be in the US just because it's easier for us to deal with. But we are open to working with international sellers as well. if the item is right, and also, you know, considering logistics. We've had one art seller that wants us to sell these giant murals that are 6 feet wide, 8 feet wide, and 6 feet tall. We can't do that right now. You know, it's a little tough to store those items and to deal with the shipping. Hence why we're not going to start with cars. You know, I talked to a car collector that also stores, and, you know, we're going to deal with the items that are the easiest for us to deal with logistically first, and then expand. Because I do think that, you know, tokenization of these types of items is going to be the future. You know, we did a video with, we did a marketing campaign with Cameron Foose, and Cameron talked about how, you know, being in Indonesia and having nice things, unfortunately, his home was burglarized, and 2 Rolexes, they're probably valued, I would say, somewhere in the vicinity of $75,000 plus, were stolen from him. And he said he didn't even get a chance to wear those items yet. So they were just locked away in a drawer, and someone came in and they took them. Well, it would be nice if you did buy them for the purposes of an investment, that it was stored away, you know, somewhere safe, somewhere insured, and somewhere where you know that, hey, you know what? I want it back. Send it to me. And you get the item sent to you, but you also know that, hey, I own this NFT, and if I decided I want to sell it, I can easily sell it to someone else. And so removing that friction is going to be a big part of what we're doing, regardless of where you are. You know, some individuals, they want to trade these types of items, but they live in places where, you know, it's unsafe. And I think giving access to those folks will add liquidity in these respective markets, and coincidentally probably drive the values of these items up. You know, so democratizing the marketplace is something that's very, very important to us. And we're actively moving toward that. And you will see that there's a lot more decentralization in our platform versus these other companies that are just straight up, well, they're just Web2 companies that are using crypto. You know, for us, you know, just in the way that we stake, you know, you'll be able to stake and receive a portion of the transaction fees. It's because we want to give the power back to the community. It shouldn't be that, you know, like an eBay or a Sotheby's or a Christie's, 15, 20, 23% gets charged to the sellers, or sometimes in the form of a buyer premium. And that just goes to the company. You know, having sold these types of items for several years, I have a reasonable idea of what the fees are involved. And I'll tell you, it's not 15%. So while our team is, you know, it's a reasonable size, we're very agile. We do things in a very, very cost-effective manner. Despite the things that have happened to us in the past, we've persevered. And I'd just like to, you know, give a great big thank you to the community for sticking with us, you know, during all these months of, you know, uncertainty, of trying to build, you know, facing negativity. We continued. And I think that, you know, in just a couple months, you guys are going to see something game-changing. You know, I think that even though there are a couple other marketplaces that already exist, I don't see any that has a native redemption feature. So we're already going to be ahead in terms of that component. And again, we're not just listing everything, where you have to figure out, is this going to be something good for me to buy or not? Or let's just say we're only selling trading cards. Well, maybe you don't know about trading cards, or you don't know which ones to buy, and then you buy the wrong one, or someone is selling it for a price that's too high, and then you inadvertently buy that. You know, we're trying to make sure that at every facet, individuals are buying things and we're offering things that would be a great addition to your portfolio. So with that said, that gives you guys an update about, you know, kind of where we are with CollectCoin. Oh, one more thing. The staking. You know, we are still working with Pancakeswap. That is the only place that we're going to be doing the farming. Okay, it's going to be LP farming. I saw something yesterday about a bakery swap, a fake bakery swap pool that is not from us.
Report that and delete it and block it. Yeah,
you know, if at any point you see something that you want to, that is associated to us, drop a line and, you know, send a message to us on Twitter, drop a line on Telegram. You know, we'll confirm. and also when the staking starts, we're going to make a big announcement about it. So you'll know. It's not going to be something that like, oh, I didn't even know this happened, and all of a sudden it's there. We're going to do our best to make sure that everyone understands every step of the way, everything that's going on. And we really think that it's a testament to what we're building that so many scammers are coming on board and trying to, target our community. But we're going to do the best we can at protecting you guys. But we need you to stay vigilant. There are people that impersonate myself. There's a Platinum Paul out there with an I instead of an L, and hence why I changed my image. Now I know, that's not a big Nick. Oh, sorry. It's just something small that I've done, but you can feel free to message in the group chat, tag me. Every day I read every message that's been tagged with me. It's maybe a couple hundred usually. Some of these folks are marketing people, and I haven't yet responded to all of them. I probably have 700 plus unread chats. I'm working on it. But you can always message the moderators because they've got a direct line to us, and we talk to them every day. Many hours a day. So I will never ask you for money, never to send me any coin. Nick will never ask you for that. Ryan or none of the mods. No one will ever ask you to send money. No one will ever ask you for your seed phrase, your private key. We may ask you for your wallet address if there's something that we're trying to correct, but that's not how we operate.
There's an impersonator of me right now, so if, I will never DM you. So just be cautious out there. So
100%. We're working on making sure that the community is safe as possible. One of the core ethos that we had when we started this was to make sure that the community is protected, that we can offer a platform with low fees so buyers and sellers can transact properly without having to worry about, paying a lot more than they need to, but also they can transact safely. That's why we have third-party authenticators. It shouldn't just be, hey, take my word for it because I say it's cool, So the staking will be coming out soon. We'll be in the next couple days. We should be releasing the new walkthrough with the new content of Monaco Market. That's going to be essentially what I just explained just now, except kind of more in depth, about the homepage, the listing pages, creating an NFT, your wallet, staking, paying fees, everything that you as a consumer would be dealing with. That's going to be, really featured in this walkthrough. And then there's some more advanced stuff like our backend systems that, we're working through. That's really what we're building out right now, and just making sure that we're prepping everything properly. Because, again, we don't want to make this highly manual process where, okay, I send an email to an authenticator, they check something, they send me back an email. There needs to be individuals' wallets that correspond to respective authentication partners that will then, everything's transparent. You're going to know who these people are. Who authenticated this? Why should I take their word for it? And all of these companies, you can Google them. They all have websites. They are all long-standing businesses. And it is our expectation that for dealing with these people, there'll be this added sense of confidence that, in fact, whether you just trade these items or you choose to redeem them, that you will get what you paid for. Now, trying to think if there's anything else specifically that I'm missing. I'd like to maybe open it up for some questions. I saw that in the chat there were quite a few questions. Oh, one of them was about a centralized exchange. FYI, since we've launched and we've had, among the new BSC tokens, we probably have the most volume. And as you can imagine, a lot of exchanges have contacted us. Some of those individuals may be scammers. Some of them may be genuine folks. It's sometimes a little bit difficult to tell, but we have some good contacts to be able to kind of suss that out. I imagine a centralized exchange listing is not going to come until much closer to the launch of the market or following the launch of the market, right now, there is no reason to rush into that. The reason why they're contacting us is because of all the volume. They want some fees. They want us to pay to list on their platforms, and then they want to collect the fee when you're trading it. So for now, we're just on Pancakeswap. Whether we decide to do an IEO on one of these, we'll decide. But we're going to be very strategic about this because we understand there's going to be a lot of volume and there's a lot of exchanges that want our token to be on them. I've seen some exchanges claim that they have our token on there, but we have no official centralized exchange partners at this time. But they will come. They will absolutely come. So in time, we'll reveal that information to you guys. The month of developers. So Stars asked if we're going to be like Amazon. I would say we're going to be more like a Sotheby's or Christie's website, where, again, in order for you to sell the item, they have to approve you first. So that's the biggest difference between what we're doing and any of these other platforms. Other questions? I'm just going to go through the text chat first, and then if anyone else has some specific questions, they can we'll ask for folks to raise their hands. Also, we're making some commercials to be running on respective YouTube channels. So let's say instead of paying, let's say a BitBoy Crypto $40,000 to do a video, maybe we have a campaign where we actually end up spending anywhere from 1 to 2 cents per view, versus $40,000 and maybe you get 10,000 views. I think that we'll reach a wider audience, and also a lot of our campaigns are going to be geared around, kind of onboarding normal folks, really furthering the adoption, because even though we're not in this bull market anymore, there's still room for tremendous growth in the right projects.
So there's a question about the safety of the item. So what happens if an item is stolen into storage, and what that scenario might look like? For sure.
So every item is guaranteed. It's guaranteed for the value. It will be insured. It's going to be properly stored. So as of right now, we're working on 2 different vaulting partners. One of them is going to be for kind of the high-end jewelry stuff, like the watches, like the really expensive stuff. And then we have another facility that's going to be dealing with more of the, let's say, the trading cards and maybe some of the memorabilia, some of the art pieces that are a little bit larger. Just to give you an idea, the vault that we're talking to for the jewelry items, you have to go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 doors and then a safe. So, for you to be able to get to the actual items, it'll be a little tough. Whereas the other facility, it's like, it's a big facility. It's a big storage facility. At no point, I think, are we going to be revealing exactly where this is. But I will tell you that we're working with partners that are in New York City as well as Delaware, mainly because some of the sellers have questions around the sales tax. When they sell, or rather where they send these items to, there is a sales tax that may be triggered. And if you're dealing with Delaware, Oregon, New Hampshire, those 3 states have no sales tax. So again, we're operating in America. We need to make sure that we adhere to the relevant tax laws. So no one has like a tax liability that is owed or they have to deal with later on. Can I sell my ex-wife? Unfortunately, we are not doing anything like that, but I do hope that, that your investment will yield, wealth where, you can start to date whomever you'd like. We didn't talk about the APY. So just for you, for your guys' information, the staking APY, at some point, what I would like to do is to merge the staking, that'll generate an APY, and also the staking that will just pay from the transactions. But again, you know, my background is in finance, and I don't understand the large Ponzi nature of some of these pools. Like straight up, like this bakery swap thing I saw was like 6,000 APY. That's not sustainable, guys. Like you got to think about this. Like a real business cannot essentially take a loan at 6,000%. So don't ever, like, you're not going to get that from us. You know, like we're a project.
It sounds too good to be true. It probably is.
Yeah, you know, I think I'm echoing again. Yeah, so we've been around for, so we've been conceptualizing since last February, and at this point, we understand kind of how we've watched other projects do many of these things, and some of them have blown up because, look, I've seen 1,000,000% Genesis rates. How is that even conceivable that this is going to last? It becomes this game of like, did you get in early enough? Can you get out early enough? You know, before it explodes. This is not a project that is going to explode. So, you know, I want everyone to understand that, you know, instead of something like thousands of percent, you're going to see something more like an anchor protocol that, you know, has a more realistic, you know, APY. Additionally, once we launch, we're going to be working on continuing to, again, as we're building toward the launch, we're going to be continue to build for growth. One of those things is going to be, well, guess what? Let's say you buy one of these NFTs and you have it. Well, you've sunk some money into this, and now you have less capital to play with, you know, or to invest with, or to utilize in any capacity. We want to build a lending tool where you would be able to borrow perhaps up to 50% of the fair market value at a reasonable APY, and then you would be able to now access that liquidity. Now, additionally, we do want to have a separate staking pool that will essentially fund this, where let's just say individuals can stake their stable coins, and then you receive an APY that is funded from that program. Everything we do has to be paid for some way. When you stake on the website and you receive a portion of the fees, that's where the money comes from. There's a business process that pays for things. It's not going to be us minting money out of thin air, you know, and that's something that I want everyone to conceptually think about, that everything we do the money has to come from somewhere, you know? So yeah, you know, I absolutely do think that that idea that we're bridging the real world with the digital world, you know, we're talking to metaverse projects that have high fidelity, that want to use our NFTs, perhaps even to create a boutique inside of their metaverse projects and allow folks to, if you buy a watch, you can wear the watch. You know, if you have a trading card, maybe you can turn it into a necklace and wear it like Jake Paul. God knows, you know, we're talking to them about all kinds of things to make additional utility. But the main thing that we want to impress upon everyone is that everything that we do is going to have a real business process. There's, you know, this is crypto, but it's still very much a real world, you know, business. See other questions. Oh, absolutely. So we're gonna do probably some Twitter Spaces with some of the sellers on, you know, maybe their profiles, our profiles, try to do some kind of collaboration, because the reality is most of the customers of these individuals aren't really in crypto, and they need to be educated. So that's why education and expansion of like what we're doing here is going to be a big factor, to make sure that everyone understands what it is that we're building, how does it all work. And that's why some of the messaging on even on the Monaco market, it's got to be geared around education, onboarding, and really impressing upon what are we doing here and why is it so important. Okay. Oh, of course. Yeah, the LP is locked. We use TrustSwap. You know, absolutely, we've locked it just so that everyone knows. 10% of the LP is unlocked, meaning that the LP tokens are given back to me. I was the one that locked them myself. It's with my founder wallet. 10% every quarter gets released back. But again, we have no intention of taking liquidity out. I don't really understand why we would need to do that. That's not something that we're looking to do. So the LP is locked. We don't need to access those funds. We are well capitalized for a go-to-market marketing strategy, the build to get us to the marketing, to the launch of the marketplace, and moving forward. You said you're so if you guys want to offer opinions about influencers, I would definitely suggest type it into the main chat and then tag me, because if you DM me, it might take me days to find it, or coincidentally, if I'm, I have the stream of all the messages, I might glance at the right time, send it, tag me, tag Nick, tag the moderators. They share it with us. We have team calls that, we discuss these types of things. But the most important thing is, I don't want to hear from another influencer, hey, you should deal with this guy, deal with my friend. I want to hear from people that are looking for good projects and say, you know what, this guy recommended a good one. We should be working with that person as well. Exactly, yeah. We're trying to have kind of long-term relationships with influencers that really kind of believe in what we're doing. Special credit goes to those folks that are already dealing in the collectible space. That would be fantastic. When someone buys on the marketplace, they can buy with BUSD, because we do want there to be a stablecoin option, BNB, and CLCT. The main reason why we're involving BNB as well is because we want a large cap token. If you want to buy $50,000 in BNB, there'll be almost no impact on the price. But I tell you, if you buy $50,000 in CLCT today, that price is going to go up. So we don't want there to be a huge amount of slippage when someone is trying to buy CLCT in order to buy an item. So, and again, some of that's going to come with us talking to centralized exchange partners, and just make sure that the partnership is right. Because, look, some of these guys are just brokers saying, oh, hey, pay me $100,000, I've seen, in order for us to list you. We're not doing that. Maybe other projects that are racing to present the appearance of growth want to do that. I don't care about the appearance of growth. It's about real, tangible results. That's what we're doing here, and at every step of the way, that's what you're going to see. This month, no. The marketplace will not be launched this month. I expect the completion of much of the development to be completed fairly soon, but we still need to do penetration testing. We still need to do audits of the staking contract, the market contracts. We're going to be working with Certic for the latter, and we're looking at a few different cybersecurity companies right now to do the penetration testing to make sure that the website itself is secure. So there's two elements. So even though we're pretty much done with the consumer-facing side, there's still a lot of testing that needs to happen, because the larger this marketplace grows, the more eyes that are on it, and unfortunately, there are going to be some bad actors as well. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, there's no way this is going to get released in 2 weeks. I mean, realistically, we could probably complete some of the dev in a couple weeks, but the testing is probably more important. Everybody knows that, it's about safety, it's about security, making sure that we don't get hacked on the day one of launching the marketplace, so I'm not sure if someone told us 4 days, or that's not the case.
There's a lot more going on than just the development itself, which is what Paul is really kind of honing in on. We need to make sure we have a safe launch. There's no bad apples that can get through our app. The performance itself, that it's working properly. So, this is why we're doing these calls, just so you guys in the community know where we're at with our progress. Much of the development is complete, yes, but we really need to make sure that it's good to go in terms of the launch itself.
Yeah, I think we're really transparent with you guys, and where we are with development. We share what the updates are. You can always ask questions. hell, you can ask me. You know, I want everyone to be on the same page. And again, you know, we're trying to do everything with best practices, trying to do everything on chain and move toward decentralization. You know, like that's what this ultimately, I want this to be this big decentralized marketplace where individuals can know who to deal with. But initially, we play a big hand in making sure that everything is safe, you know, from the items to the sellers to the marketplace itself. So I guess with that said, if anyone has any questions, they can raise their hands. And yeah, just know that, again, there's so many things going on from the marketing side, the planning of marketing, trying to be cost effective. This is the most important thing, you know, like there are some projects that because they don't have a real business, they just become a marketing company. Just how can we reach more eyes? How can we get new people to buy the token, you know, while we are mindful of the price of CollectCoin? We're not trying to just do superficial things to increase the value. We're trying to create real value by creating use case. You know, I'm talking the marketplace, the lending platform, staking, you know, things that actually create value so that this can be a long-lasting endeavor. You know, from the time that we've started this to now, I've seen other guys talk about wanting to do this and then disappear. You know, I spoke to the founder of one of these organizations that said that they were working on it, and I checked their Twitter and they hadn't tweeted in months. You know, there was no development on their website, you know, so we understand how ambitious this is, and that's why it has taken so much time. There are other folks that have decided to launch segments of this or to launch into fractionalization, which is something that we will explore at a later time. But the one thing to understand is when 100 people own something, nobody really gets it, you know? And then the core of this is for you to be able to buy these items, to trade these items, but also get the items without having to worry about getting scammed, because we serve as an intermediary to protect you. You know, Joe Paris, I think I've contacted him, Altcoin Daily. So some of these guys we've contacted. I think that there are some things I would love to do, which is to leverage the community to kind of get some of these guys' attention. You know, all too often, you know, I'm emailing a couple of our support staff. They're emailing. You know, Nick is emailing. We're all reaching out to them, but sometimes I know what it is. I mean, I see what it is with me. You get so many messages every day. Sometimes it's difficult to see through everything, and you never get to all these emails. So there may be times where we'll say, hey guys, we want to work with this individual. Can you guys help us to tweet at them, to, you know, send them a message, to, yeah, maybe comment on their videos, to brigade these things so that they pay attention. And then hopefully they reach out to one of us and I can just have a little chat, because every single person that I've ever told this idea to, when it's explained properly, they understand what it is that we're trying to build and they see the vision. You know, because whether we do this or someone else, this is going to be built. It is the future. This is the evolution of e-commerce, and it's the evolution of investment. You know, when I was selling handbags, they didn't even understand. I bet most of the people in this group, they probably heard me say this before, but Louis Vuitton handbags make greater investments than equities often do. You know, you can double your money on some of these items in a year, 2 years, 3 years, sometimes more. You know, it's just oftentimes, can you acquire it at the right price? And do you have the patience to wait? But, you know, in sneakers are an even better example, because with sneakers, you have people that are literally wearing them. So there aren't as many brand new examples. The population sizes get smaller and smaller and smaller. And if Nike, Adidas, whomever are not re-releasing these products, then there's more scarcity. And if there's a collaboration, there's heritage involved. You know, these are all the kinds of factors that we're looking at to make sure that we're curating properly. Let's see, LuxFi. LuxFi, I'll tell you what the difference between them. They're probably the first ones that I saw last year. LuxFi, the difference between them and us is that they don't do any third-party authentication. Now, I have not looked at their website recently, but what I recall was, for example, their Chanel bags, they take a fingerprint of these items. I would challenge that, okay? I've handled thousands of handbags, and I know just how closely these fingerprints are. Now, I'll tell you that on a caviar bag, that's the one with the pebbled leather, there may be differences, kind of like the differences in your fingerprint, but what about the smooth leather? What about lambskin bags that have no evidence of any kind of usage, and they all look the same? How do you fingerprint something like that? So that's one thing that, I don't agree with, that they don't actually have authenticating, that happens. They use this fingerprinting, and they're letting anybody come on and list anything. I think that's a recipe for disaster, because guess what? I could go to Canal Street, buy a fake bag, go to the Louis Vuitton store, if you can find the item, buy the bag, list pictures of the real bag, and then send you a fake. How are you protected in that instance? Okay. So again, I have not looked at their model recently because we've been kind of dialed in, but it's great that you bring them up, because LuxFi was the first kind of competitor that I saw, but they're more like eBay than they are like Sotheby's, which is what we aspire to be more like. There isn't any curation. You can just go and list anything, and I think that that's going to be a recipe for disaster for some folks looking to buy these items, and then they end up getting scammed. Let's see. I tend to agree with Nam, that there are a lot of scammers that are coming because they see a lot of the attention. We intend to build a blue chip project here. This is not something that is here today, gone tomorrow because they didn't get enough volume. Part of our strategy in terms of revenue is not only to be going out with third-party sellers, it's going to be to make sure that we purchase some of these items ourselves. And now, we won't be taking a tremendous amount of inventory risk. It's got to be something where we have a significant edge. For example, I still have a lot of connections in fashion, specifically to buy, let's say Louis as an example. We could buy Louis Vuitton items at retail that will resell for 20 and 30% above. So for us, we're going to be able to make a margin. So that's another reason why we don't have to have these huge fees. I don't believe that many of the other sellers, there's a platform that's operating on Ethereum where they take a 6% fee on the initial sale, and then you just transact thereafter, but they have no redemption protocol, and they say it's coming in the next few months. I think our redemption protocol is going to be the first one on chain, and again, we plan to bridge to other chains so that we can access that liquidity. But again, our MVP is going to be on the Binance Smart Chain. Crypto gains. Okay. I'm going to take a look at crypto gains. Thank you for the recommendation, Leo. Okay. Also, if you guys have any, I can see that we have a really, really diverse community. Individuals from Brazil, individuals from China, we have an Arabic contingent. If you like influencers that are in other languages, we've explored Russian. We've done marketing in a bunch of different languages, but we haven't done them all, and we're very open to doing that. So please, by all means, if there is someone that you like, please let us know. I would like to open the floor to Merkle Tree, Crypto Savvy. Allowed to speak. Hey, Merkle Tree, what's up? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I have, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I have two questions actually. I sent in the chat as well. My first question is, do you have any plan to register CollectCoin as a company in United States? If yes,
where? Could you say the end of that again? Register the company where?
company in United States? If yes, when it is? And second question is, from which month of 2022 Monaco Market will generate revenue? Are you in line with generating revenue of 50 million by Q1 2023 per white paper?
Sure. Excellent question. I would say that in terms of our registration, we are very mindful of the regulatory bodies and being in line with the respective regulatory bodies of whatever jurisdiction we're in. We are registered in the BVI, in the British Virgin Islands, mainly because their regulations are really, they're advantageous for us, so that's why we're there. We are friendly with some of the regulators. So, right now, like, for example, there's a lot of regulation around ICOs globally right now. However, there isn't as much regulation.
People who aren't speaking, can you mute?
I think let me mute this person. No.
And AGJ.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'll mute AGJ. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. So we're registered in the BVI. We are a registered company. In terms of registering the US, perhaps in the future, but it's only going to be when the regulations are clear, and it's going to be necessary, to be totally honest with you, because if it's not necessary, I don't see the point, to be quite honest with you guys. And then the other question about when we expect to generate revenue, I would say by the end of the summer here in North America, we'll be generating revenue. And in terms of hitting those goals, we have some plans, but it's really going to come down to, there's a lot of factors. We set very ambitious goals in terms of volume, and it's going to be about just getting the right items and making sure that we're educating people about the value of the items. And I think that once we launch the product for individuals to be able to borrow against their NFTs, like the collateralized lending, I think that's going to spur more volume. So it's really about making sure that we, one, launch a great marketplace populated with great items, and then create ancillary services that will generate that kind of revenue. So in our instance, there's going to be things like what I want to do is create a pool of a wide assortment of items. Maybe there's a trading card in there. Maybe there's a watch in there. Maybe there's a handbag in there. Maybe there's a sneaker in there. Some kind of memorabilia. A diversified portfolio that you can participate in, and then individuals can trade shares of that. So it becomes this greater fractionalization, and we would curate that collection based on data. Everything is data driven, from, is this item something good to buy because we've seen the charts are going up, that's something that's very, very important to us, making sure that we are offering the right items that have investment quality, and based on quantifiable things, scarcity, heritage, provenance, history. So those things, and, the $50 million is a very, very ambitious target, but we are working aggressively toward it. Now I'm going to unmute you again.
There's a question from Nam about if we're going to eventually produce a native experience. We are definitely open to it, and we would love to, but we also just have to make sure we're aligned with what the community wants. Just because not just because we have a native app, that doesn't necessarily mean it's actually feasible or the best option for the majority of our community. For example, it's not uncommon to have issues connecting with your wallet on your phone, and so by having a native experience introduces additional further implications and technicalities that we have to. So in order to go native, there's a lot of things that we would really have to make sure we do right before we even consider that.
Yeah, I would say a native, you're looking at next year at the earliest. I cannot imagine that we would kind of channel a lot of our developmental resources for something like that this year, when we kind of have a bunch of things that we need to work on in the meantime. And I guess with that, Merkle Tree, I know you had another question.
Thank you.
Oh,
I'm
very
good.
good. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Sairam, wait, where is he? There he is. Sairam, always a pleasure to see you in these AMAs. How are you doing, brother? Can you hear me? You're unmuted.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Great to see you, Paul, and great to see you, Nick. First of all,
Great.
congratulations on the fabulous launch. It was
Thank
a
you.
little bump in the beginning, but yeah, now things are looking brighter than ever. So that's great.
Yes, thank
So
you.
today I'm thinking I might not get a chance because, but yeah, I'm happy that I got a
Yeah,
chance.
it's already 2:10. I would say we'll probably do this
Yeah.
for like another 10 minutes. I lose track of time when I'm talking, as you guys can see. But that's what I do all day. I'm on the phone all day talking.
Yeah.
As you can
So
see,
Paul,
Paul is very.
so Paul, one of the question I had was, are you guys done with burning all the V1 tokens? Because
Yes,
I didn't follow
yes.
that.
Yeah,
Okay.
actually, great point. So we have airdropped all of the tokens in to the in our V2 tokens, and we have we've burned all the V1. Now, if any, I've seen this already. Actually, I noticed in the Arabic chat, someone was talking about how he saw his tokens and then they disappeared. Well, what might have happened is your V1 tokens were the ones that were imported. The contract address was imported into your wallet, and you didn't import the new contract. So I would say anyone that does not see the collect coin that they should see, import the V2 token contract address, and if you still see it, contact one of the mods or tag me in a message in the main chat. I'll see it, and then we'll take a look at what's going on. But everyone should have their V2 tokens for sure. Yes.
All right. So my other question was like our very first hack was related to burning. So from the fee, 1/3 of the fee will be burnt, right?
Yes. Yes.
So what measures are you taking to make sure that that burning doesn't have any error that sort of led to the first hack?
So I'm not the most technical person, but from what I understand about how it's coded, it's a very, very strict kind of protocol in terms of like how the burning happens. Before there was a exploit where essentially someone from outside could do this, you can't do that on this contract. And again, we've checked this with Hacken, we've checked this with Certic to make sure that that's not the case. So security is something of paramount. Like that's probably one of the reasons why we're not launching the marketplace as quickly as we probably could. Based on what we have right now, some other companies would have launched this as it is right now. But again, you gotta do the audits. You have to do the penetration testing on the website. So security is going to be of the utmost importance for us to make sure that there aren't these kinds of mishaps in the future. As of now, we don't see anything. And to be completely honest with you guys, I feel like if there was going to be some kind of like liquidity hack, it might have been on that first pump. When we pumped from like 2 cents to like 15 cents, it was, maybe it would have happened around there because that was when we probably had the most liquidity. But again, at this point, I don't anticipate something like that would happen. Where I see potential vectors would be people trying to actually hack our website or something of that nature. Nick?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you actually just highlighted it. That's what I was going to say, which is the kind of the upcoming launch of the Monaco Market is what we're looking at really closely, and we don't want to have any mistakes. So.
Okay, and my last question is about like tokenomics. In the tokenomics, I saw that a certain portion of tokens are assigned for, say, marketing and those kind of stuffs. So my doubt is like whenever those are unlocked, like do you sell them on Pancakeswap to convert them into the funds which you'll use for marketing, or how does it work?
Sure, great question. So we've been very, very conservative with those pools. To date, you know what? I could probably I can share a little information. So far, we have barely spent any of those tokens. We have never at all We've never sold any tokens from our pools into the liquidity. But we have paid some of our marketing partners with some of the tokens in the beginning, but not a lot. I would tell you right now, we've only spent about 85,000 tokens. So despite the fact that there are these millions and millions that are accessible to us, we've only spent just under 85,000 up until this point, mainly because most of our marketing, we just spend stable. You know, we have a reasonable amount of funds to be able to get to market. And the truth is, I just fundamentally feel like we're still so undervalued that if I give someone 5 cents today that I think is going to be worth, you know, more, significantly more in the future, it's a disservice to us, you know, because look, they're just going to end up selling it for a greater amount later on and just robbing the liquidity. So it's better to essentially pay those folks in stable. And we're very, very cautious about that. But up until this point, we have not sold anything from those pools. No founders have sold any tokens. You know, we have had some operational expenses for some of the team, and we've given them their tokens. But as far as I know, no one has sold from those individuals as well. And we're still, even though there's a significant amount that has vested, for example, for operations, it started from the token generation event, and we're using the original token because the expenses have not stopped. Right? From the time that we've started operations till now, you have to use that time frame, you know? So all of this is from the TGE, the original TGE, which was May of last year. For example, operations, it's 10% per quarter. And that would mean that 2 million have been unlocked, but we have only actually incurred an expense of 275,000, you know, up until this point. So, and again, those folks haven't sold because I believe, and those folks as well, they're seeing everything get built. They know what's coming. Why would you sell early? You know, it's just, you're doing yourself a dissatisfaction, you know, a disservice. So we're very, very mindful of that. And I'm a frugal guy, you know, I'm not just going to spend money just like that. So you can count that when you invest, that you're investing into a team that is very, very cost conscious. And we negotiate everything, you know, honestly. And it's just because there needs to be longevity. This is a real thing. You know, some projects just pay. Oh, you want 50 grand? Here you go. You want 100 grand? Here you go. You know, no, we don't do things like that. That's why there are marketing companies that have approached me and want us to do these $100,000 a month spends where the real actual cost is 30 grand. And flat out, and I say
no. I was just going to add to that, and in a lot of ways, I think we've been able to prove the marketing companies wrong. You know, they talk about how it's going to cost $200,000 to do what we're trying to do, and we've been able to spend far less on our own and accomplish just as much as otherwise. So,
and there's a consideration of what current market conditions are. You know, unfortunately, look, marketing spend does not yield what it used to. And we have to be mindful that, like, some companies, they do marketing and they sell into the buy pressure. We're not doing that. We don't have any bots that are selling into these pools trying to rob liquidity. You know, we have enough funds to take us to the launch, you know, and we're going to be very mindful of that. So if we do need to access some of those funds, we will, you know, that's just a fact. And I'm not saying that at no point in the future will that happen, but it's not anytime particularly soon. You know, I'm not going to rob from tomorrow to pay for today. You have any other questions?
Yes, and Paul, like a part of tokenomics also shows that some part will go to liquidity pool. So from what I understand, the liquidity pool requires a pair, right? BNB and CLCT. So
yes.
So how would you convert that half of the CLCT into BNB to add to the liquidity pool?
No. Well, so this is the thing, right? That 10 million that we have there, I'm going to update the tokenomics sheet because essentially that was the original one. Some of that may be us providing liquidity into some of these like centralized exchanges, so some of that may come, that's where that may come from. Like we need liquidity for potentially these IEOs. I've gotten into pretty advanced conversations with a few centralized exchanges where they kind of explain to us the process, how, look, some of these guys, there's a bunch of different ways. Some of them, you literally just pay them a whole bunch of money, and then they in turn take the money that you give them, and then they go buy it on DEX, or you can do an OTC deal where we essentially sell it to them that way, or, sometimes they buy it, or they there's like a partnership where you're giving it to them, but they provide the other pair. There's a bunch of ways where they go about this. We're taking these conversations one step at a time to understand who the best partner is going to be, who's going to provide real value to us, because, a DEX can serve the purpose, but I also recognize that having, a centralized exchange can provide additional access, be it on-ramp, off-ramp, ability for, individuals. So we're looking to, again, we're not trying to be on like 10 exchanges, with varied levels of liquidity, and then maybe you can arb between one exchange or the other. We're trying to make sure that this is a meaningful partner. So, if any centralized exchanges see this, I'm not going to pay you some crazy fee so that you can do some marketing or do some contests or giveaways, and then it dilutes the price of the token. I've seen other tokens because of the sheer volume that was occurring, like what's kind of happening with us on a much smaller scale, where they want that piece of the action. They want those trading fees. So they'll come, and I think that when we build a great product, that's when we'll be in a position to negotiate effectively. It's not just like, oh, hey, I want to announce that we're on a centralized exchange, so I'm going to pay this guy $100,000 so that we can be on an exchange. And that's if that person's not a scammer or a broker that takes a significant fee. I'm going to talk to the individuals at the exchanges themselves. NFT NYC is in 2 weeks. I'm in New York City. I'll be at a lot of the events. I may be speaking at a couple of the events. So I'm going to make sure that we network with the right folks and make sure that the gospel of CollectCoin and Monaco Market is spread far and wide.
Awesome. So Paul, in crypto, if some certain centralized exchange wants to list it, there's nothing stopping them, right? I mean, they can pool in their own liquidity and list it. So
of course,
in that case, there is nothing much we can do to like stop them or.
No, but I mean, that's fine.
No,
I mean, look,
I'm asking this question because one theory that's doing the round says Terra was crashed because of a targeted attack.
Yes, yeah, that is a theory for sure.
Yes, one theory that is like circulating a lot. So my question was like, let's say some centralized exchange just to like mess with our price or anything. I mean, in case of something like that happens, what can we do to like protect ourselves? I mean,
in what sense? Like, you mean if the centralized exchange wants to lower our price?
If a centralized exchange lists it, then that will give scope for arbitrage trading, right?
Yes. If we're on DEX at 9 cents and then we're on their platform for some reason at 3 cents, go buy the token up and then, sell it on DEX, ARB. Like, I'm not going to tell you not to do that. That's just trading, it's trading 101. So, the more exchanges you're on, the more opportunity there is for arbitrage, Yes. So if you want to do that, feel free, but again, that's not our focus. Our focus is making sure that at every stage we're creating real value, real partnerships, to add value to CollectCoin, because that's what this is about. Monaco Market is a use case. It's one of the use cases. There's so many more that we're working on to add value to Coin.
So the reason I asked you this is because the kind of trade volume which we are having, I'm sure that in next 15-20 days, some CEX is going to list us, independent of whether we want to or not. So, and even with the influencer marketing, I have a strong feeling that soon there will be a point wherein they will make videos out of their own interest instead of you asking them or we asking them or anything. So I'm
You
expecting
know,
something like that
yeah,
to happen soon. So
absolutely. And I think also that, one thing I've seen some success with is when projects brigade comment sections. Hey, make a video about this project. That's the kind of thing where we're going to try to organize some of the community to be able to do that so that, these
I know this.
are aware.
I know this personally because one of the YouTubers in India is a very good friend of mine, and he was asking me that, dude, you are a investor in CollectCoin, right? Do you think I should make a video on that? It's not like I reached out to him or you reached out to him because he's a friend. He just knew that I am an investor in this, and he was like, "Can I make a video on that? What do you think? Will it get enough views and all?" So it is
Oh
definitely
yeah.
generating decent interest. Like at some point in the very near future, I think they are going to make videos by themselves without us asking, and I think
You know,
CX
it's already
are going
happened.
to.
Yeah, I agree with you. I've seen this already happening with some folks that I've never, like, every single paid video that we've done, I've talked to them. I've looked at them in their eyes. But there are some that I've never talked to these people before, and they wanted to make a video about us, which thank you. That's all I could say is thank you. I hope you get some views from that. But just know that we're a very real project with very real aspirations, and I'm not going anywhere. With that said, I'm going to give one more person, Leo da Silva, the opportunity to ask some questions, and then we will probably conclude this. So, Leo, what's going
Hey,
on,
man.
brother?
I'm good, bro. How are you?
Doing great, doing great. Happy to have you here with us. How can I
Yeah.
answer one of your questions?
Yeah, congrats on the successful relaunch. And
Thank you.
yeah, my question is, I was here earlier and I saw something in the chat. Some guy was talking about saying how, like, if some big whales actually wanted to come in and buy a large amount, that they won't be able to because there's low liquidity and something like that. Like, and he was basically accused of FUD and stuff. But is that actually true? Like, if somebody wants to buy like $50,000, would they like not be able to because of like price impact or something? And for people
So,
who are like new, would you be able to, like, I guess, clear the air regarding this stuff so that I guess they won't come in and ask that stuff in the chat again?
absolutely. So, I would say that as of right now, there's 809 pooled BNB in the liquidity. I think if I went to Pancakeswap right now and tried to buy, $50,000 worth, how much is that? That's probably like 100 no. What's BNB at? I don't even know. Be 300. So that's 170, I guess. No, I'm wrong. Yeah, like 170 BNB, something like that. There would be some significant price action, but I mean, if whales want to come in and buy, no matter where, like, where, at what level is enough? I think as of now we have 800 pooled BNB, and I think that's going to grow because some of the more major marketing we've been waiting for the CoinGecko and the CoinMarketCap listings to be finished because, again, we're thinking about user behavior, right? If a user sees this and wants to look it up, if you're not on CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap, they're not going to know where. Most people probably won't know where to go. They're not going to go on Dex Tools, go on PooCoin. That doesn't really tell you a lot about the project. So I think having those listing pages is going to be important, and then we're going to start pushing some of the the marketing that we have planned. Digital marketing geared specific that we've created to tell the story. Like, for example, if you go to the CollectCoin YouTube page, which if one of the mods can just like link it in the chat, it's gonna show you the video explaining what this is. We've done a few. We did an animated one. We did a real world one where you'll see me as one of the sellers. And we have other content as well. We're going to be releasing content around the items themselves. It's really about building up the project. But if whales want to come in and buy, they can buy. There's, what is that, $250,000 in liquidity as of now. We're still very, very small cap. We're still very early. It's only been a week since we've launched. So, you know, yeah, actually it says there'll be a 10% price impact of a $50,000 buy. I saw a list of the biggest holders. I think most of them have between 300 and 500,000 tokens. So I mean, even at the high end, that's 25 grand. So if someone came in and bought $50,000 in CLCT, they would probably immediately become like the #1 holder. And I don't know, I mean, we're not doing this for whales. Like whales, when you start getting a lot of whales, they start to control the pricing. They can manipulate, and we don't have a tax. We don't really believe in these kinds of things. I'd rather impose a fee on an action, a real action like buying something, than, oh, there's a 6% sales tax or a 5% buy tax. We want there to be as little friction as possible. Now, I understand that there's bots they'll try to front run you. Buy smaller amounts. Make your slippage as small as possible. But to answer what you were saying before, we still have a significant amount of liquidity. There's a reasonable amount of volume, and as we start to do some of the bigger campaigns, you're going to see that volume going way up again. We were like Dex Tools trending for like 3 days. It was crazy. And when we were one of the big gainers on CoinGecko, again, we did significant volume, and I anticipate something like that to happen again. So it's just a matter of time.
Yeah, I actually agree with you about the whales, and that's something that we should not want, them controlling a token. I can see what you're talking about. Yeah, that's bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've literally seen it where, I have a friend of mine that he runs another project on Terra. But before, he told me how, he has like VCs that are whales in his project. And when he launched and it pumped really well, he could see they were selling, and they're all collectively selling down the price because they're just trying to slowly exit without a real desire to see his project through. And, I don't want us to become beholden to these people. We should be beholden to creating the best possible product that we can. Not, what can we do to appease these guys that have a lot of the token? If they decide one day, hey, you know what? 1.5% is too little. You guys got to change it. And they want to snap their fingers. I don't want a business like that. Nick certainly doesn't as well. We listen to the community and we take things under advisement. But, we're trying to build the best thing that we can based on experience, based on data, not because of the whims of an individual.
Yeah, and speaking of, you were mentioning influencers. Thank you for reading out my comment about crypto gains. The reason I mentioned him is because I've been involved in a bunch of projects, and you mentioned BitBoy was $40,000 to get. That's kind of expensive. He's good, but I've been in projects with him, and I saw the pump that comes from him. And I've been also in projects that got shut out from crypto gains, and I find it like it was pretty much the same. And I think that he's probably like 1/10 of the price. And I think people who watch his videos are like interested in like serious projects. That's why he's my favorite. He's my favorite influencer.
Absolutely. And look, there's even with like Telegram marketing, there's some groups where we've spoken to them. They make write-ups. They do all this analysis based on the projects. They really provide real value. Whereas, look, we're guilty of it. Working with influencers that literally read the white paper. I could read the white paper and make a video. Some of that stuff is so upsetting when you see the final product and you're like, oh, we paid $500 for this. We paid $2,000 for this. Okay, let's see if it actually yields something. And sometimes it does. There are guys like Michael Rubel is a great example. Connor Kenny. These guys, they have real loyal followings. We work with them. Those guys are amazing. And then there's some other guys that I won't name because I don't want to disparage them, even though I really do want to disparage them, that literally just take your money and give you nothing. And it's really soured my opinion about some of the influencer marketing. That's why we're very, very selective now. especially during the current market conditions. You know, you have to be mindful of that because you don't have an infinite amount of money to spend on those types of things. I would
Connor
say
Kenny's looking really good. I'm glad you guys are working with him.
yeah, he's cool. He's really nice guy. You know, I did an AMA with him. He made a video about the project. He's been really great. You know, go, you know, follow him. He's real nice guy. Really nice guy. Any other questions before I think we could do one last person. I'm going to take Luis Vargas, one of our OGs in the crew. Luis, what's going on, brother?
Hey, Paul, what's going on, brother? Nick, how you guys doing?
Hey, Louis. Good to hear from you.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Always great to hear from an ardent supporter.
Hey, I just got a quick question. It's just concerned regarding the CoinGecko listing where you can see the full market cap. That market cap is like just the entire like token supply. It's not really up to date, right? As far as like the circulating supply goes, correct?
Let me take a look at it real quick just to make sure that I have the most recent. And no, it's still not updated. So I submitted. So okay, I'll give you guys a little peek behind the curtain. Fully diluted valuation. Okay, so the fully diluted valuation is just like the current price multiplied by the total supply. But they have you fill out the spreadsheet that kind of outlines all the pools. You know, who owns what. You know, what did we put into DEX? You know, everything. So I filled that out last week. So they told me it would take up to 5 days. I think maybe business days for them to update it. So you guys should be seeing the market cap and the circulating supply updated. I mean, I would hope in the next couple days, definitely this week, because this week is going to be 5 business days. So that should be updated very shortly. And CoinMarketCap has updated our contract, but they have not updated like all the other info, and I think that's what they're waiting for as well. So the CoinMarketCap listing should also be updated for sure this week. They said something 24 hours, but I'll believe it. But I know it's going to be this week. It has to be.
All right, well, sweet, man. I was just figured I ask real quick. I didn't know if it had been updated or whatnot, but no, we're all good, man. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. For sure. Thanks for the questions. I think that's pretty good for now. I want to thank everyone for joining us today, for answering such great questions. Excuse me, for asking such great questions. Great big thank you to Nick for
Thanks, guys, for everybody. Thank you.
And just know that we're going to be doing these regularly. Chances are the next one will be as we have another kind of big update. But again, you know, we're always around. I'm probably in the chat at least an hour a day here and there. Sometimes if I have some downtime, I'll just sit there responding to messages. So if you have sent me a message, I will get back to you at some point. And if I haven't gotten back to you, if you sent your message a long time ago, send a new one. Get back kind of on the top of the queue. Again, thank you everyone for the support. Thank you everyone for the continued confidence. And again, just know that we are building something here that is meaningful, that will push adoption of crypto, and it's going to meld these two worlds together. We're working, and you're going to see something great.